Okay.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Petaluma Community Access Board of Directors meeting for Tuesday, January 17th, 2012. And would the secretary please call the roll?
Thomas.
Here.
Adams.
Here.
Pearson. Guy. Johnson.
Here.
Davis. Fishman. Williamson.
Here.
Bertucci.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, and Neil did notify us that he's in Seattle, so he couldn't be here. And
12 inches of
we
snow.
did talk about doing a conference call with him, but we needed network access for that, and so.
He's Wi-Fi.
Surprise.
We have Wi-Fi.
My Polycom is not where it is. Okay, so is there any public comment tonight? Seeing none. Does anyone on the board have comments or announcements they want to make? Marcel.
As I promised, I have an iPad for a raffle for PCA to promote
Sweet.
PCA to bring in more. So we need to find out what we want to use it for. It has to be something good and something that will for sure bring in. So
Right.
we decide on something.
Revenue generating.
I wanted to give it to John. Did you want to keep it or you want me to keep hold on?
You might want to keep it now. We'll see. We'll talk about
So
it.
you know it's there, so we can.
And this is a
Are
personal
board members
donation from
eligible?
you.
That's my yearly donation.
This is all the members.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
Here,
Well-
remember? You paid.
Yeah, I'm a member. I finally paid today.
Well, I would like to say, well, if I may,
Yes.
Madam Chair, thank you so much to Marcel for this generous and unexpected and wonderful donation of an iPad for PCA. I think it's really wonderful, and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I second that.
Ditto what Eric says. Okay, any other comments and announcements? We are gonna have a report out of our retreat or not? Or is that just reflected in the minutes?
It's the minutes. We can
It's
report
just
on it.
minutes?
I
No,
mean-
I just would like to let our viewers know
Yeah,
that we
they don't know.
held a board retreat last month, and it was most excellent. We did some good work. We know each other even better than we did before, and it was a good time, good food, right in the holiday season, so thanks for John for helping to organize that.
And the subcommittee,
Subcommittee.
yourself and Jason.
And Neil Fishman for hosting.
And the host.
Yep,
It
Neil
was very
Fishman,
collegiate.
Neil Fishman and his amazing home.
And thank you, John, for doing the minutes as well. Good record.
I'm assuming that everybody's looked at the agenda. Is there any request for modifications to this? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, does anyone disapprove? Okay, we have an agenda. Minutes were emailed to everyone. Assuming again that everybody read those, unless there are any modifications, changes.
I see a modification. Marcel, you're using an old list of the committees.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I was not specific. We have minutes for the November 15th regular board meeting
Good.
and for the retreat on December 20th. So which ones?
The November minutes with the
Okay.
committees have two ex-board members in there.
I'm sorry?
The committees, the reports from the committees in the November minutes,
Mm-hmm.
you're still marking Richard and Kirk.
Oh.
Klingbeil and Squaglia.
I'm sorry, it was another. Thank you, I'm correct.
I guess
Because we don't like anyone on our board that has names that are interesting and lyrical, like Klingbeil and Squaglia. We like the Johnsons and the Adams and the Williams and Thomases.
Boring.
I
Yeah.
think
We are boring, aren't we?
Yes, well, Bertucci goes a little.
That's
But
good.
he's not on the board.
Oh, that's true.
Marcel was being a little optimistic and hoping that they'd stay,
Yeah, right.
even not as board members. Okay. That,
Did we,
with that correction, is there anything else?
I move for approval of November 15th minutes.
Okay, and second?
I'll second.
Okay, anyone disapprove? Okay, and I believe that we're just oh,
Abstain, I wasn't there.
okay. One abstention, Johnson. The retreat, I don't know that there's
Was
any,
it called to order?
no, it was not
Then
called to
then
order,
you don't
right,
have
it's
to have
just, we're just adopting them, right? Okay,
And thanking John.
yes. Thank you for that recording, John. Treasurer's report, should we just set that aside for now in case Matt shows, or did he say he was gonna be here or not?
He said he wasn't sure what time he could get here.
Right, he was
depending on how much
supposed to
they
notify us this afternoon.
He didn't.
No?
Must have been a busy day.
Okay. But let's just push it back for a little bit. If not, then we'll just table it for next
Push
month.
it back.
Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. Executive Director's report?
Okay, where is it? So we got some new equipment. We got 3 Sony compact camcorders, one of which is working right now here. These are exciting, especially because they have memory cards. We're going off of tape. And it also has XLR inputs for the microphones, which is a big step. And they're weather and dust sealed against dust. They'll be used by staff at the beginning to make sure how they work. And the actual downloading of the media is going to need a procedure worked out because we only got 1 card for each camera, and if somebody fills their card up, we got to empty it before we send the camera out. So we'll probably get more cards, but right now we're just testing. We also started bolstering our lighting equipment. We got 2 really sweet LED dimmable light panels. Square panels where you can ramp up the light, and they're fragile but not as fragile. We've had problems with some really nice Lowells that we have with very expensive light bulbs that break almost every time they go out, so we weren't letting those out. We also got camera mounted LED lights. Then we have our holiday contest, which Kate's been organizing. We've only had 5 submissions, but that's not bad. One of them will win a chance to have premium scheduling in our broadcast grid. We used online TV and print outlets to develop it, and you know, we got hooked on the contest routine. I started work on the PCA procedures. I finally cracked that open. And basically we have the old policies and procedures that got split into policies and procedures. So when we were pulling things in for the policies, what was left were the procedures, and they're out of date, but it's a starting point. I worked on the table of contents to try to organize it and identify the absences. We don't have anything for the website or streaming or those kind of things. So that's being developed. Hopefully I'll have something to send out and reactivate the Policies and Procedures Committee. It was on the Policies and Procedures Committee.
Pearson, Thomas, Williamson,
And
and
Clean
Fishman.
Wheel. Oh, and Fishman's on there now. Okay, great. I'll be sending something out before the next meeting. The Pixel partnership, I've been having some nice chats with Alex. He's the head guy for Pixel. He actually came to me and with an interesting proposition that, you know, Zach's been training at Pixel, part of their core team for in-house productions. And Alex would like to take Zach off to some 3 or 4 day conference when they do high-end video conferencing. and he wanted to talk with me because he knows that Zach is very important. It was a good opening to the conversation because he knows how important Zach is. He's not going to steal Zach from us. But this is an opportunity that I think Zach really should have. So we'll try to work something out where Zach can leave for 3 or 4 days as long as things function at this station. That's part of management.
You could still be on call at night
Oh,
if
yeah.
necessary, so
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah. It's something we'll work out, but it did open up this subject of what we've talked a lot about, how we might partner with Pixel. They were eyeing the downstairs office that's empty, and they wanted to put in a studio. I don't think that's going to happen right away. They have cash flow problems too. But the dialogue is open. I'm excited, and there's a lot more activity now in their office. I was supposed to report back on a date for a meeting with the city, but I was talking to Tim, and we don't think it's the most opportune time to sit down and talk with the city. We don't really have an agenda of what we need to talk about. For me, it was a reflex that when I first started working back in '08, I did have a nice sit-down talk, and it was really good to get my bearings straight. So I thought it would be good for a refresher course on that. But the city is very busy, and it's just, I don't think it's the time right now. And then I was developing something which will dovetail with Jason's item, if he shows up. We've been talking about, well, we have our business sponsorship, with trying to get local businesses to underwrite sections of our broadcast schedule. It's not taking off. Both Ray and I have done some legwork on it. The prices are kind of high for local businesses, especially small businesses. So that needs to be reappraised. But my brother's partner works in Berkeley, and she came to me at Christmas with an idea because she's friendly with the access director in Berkeley. And she's saying that she might be able to land some big underwriting contracts if we had an access network. That would be different access stations grouping together where the money would come to the group, and these larger entities would be seeing their on-screen acknowledgement of gratitude broadcast in multiple cities, not just local cities. So that's sort of dovetailed with a plan I've been toying with for years, is to try to bring together a regional conference of access stations and try to create this network. I started compiling lists of all the access stations. Where do we draw the line? What do we call it? The North Bay network. I think I've already talked to Dan in Santa Rosa and David in Berkeley, and they're both interested. So I might try to hammer out a letter to other access stations to develop the interest and set a date between now and summer. And it would be great if Petaluma could host it. I think that's something to really be proud of. You know, we talked a bit about this in at the retreat, alternate funding streams and the evolving landscape of media broadcasting might force us all to circle the wagons and try to preserve what we can. Santa Rosa is learning the hard way that it's, well, they're facing layoffs right now.
John, and because I talked to PBS to try to get some ideas, it's not apples to apples, I realize that. But they said when they were almost under in '93, I think it was, one of the biggest steps they took was to go to all the PBS stations and see if they could arrange some national buys. Basically the same thing you're just saying on a much lower scale. And they said it saved their butt. Within a year, they had increased their revenue some 31%. And they said they can't put the finger on necessarily why, but it was an easier buy for buyers that were looking for a different mentality and a different group. This is the same thing, so we could make something out of it. I like it.
Yeah. David in Berkeley did try to do this about 2 years ago. I went and there was only one other access station there. So it's you know, trying to find the time when it works, but maybe there's more of a need for it now. I'd still like to try. So that's my report. Any questions?
Nice.
Pixel, if they have a studio, would they share it with PC?
Well, their idea with the downstairs office was to be able to have a small studio that they could leave set up. The problem with their facility right now on Lower Keller Street is it's used for different things. So when they do a teleconference meeting, they have to pull all that down and then put it up to do a TV commercial. So it's not the same thing. But yeah, the door's open for
That would be great.
a back and forth, yeah.
That would be wonderful.
There was also the fiber that we ultimately decided was too expensive for us, even if they got it, but they've decided not to get it. It's too expensive for them. They got servers in Michigan now, so.
No, Leo Laporte, I think, got fired from KGU TV, radio as
Oh.
well, because he's on another station, and I haven't heard him on KGU. You know, they fired most of their
Yeah,
talk show
They
people.
changed
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Well, Leo is not Pixel. They share the same building, but they're not
Oh,
the
they're not,
same.
it's not related, oh, I
No,
thought
no,
they
it's
were,
not
they had
related.
some, oh, okay, oh, sorry.
No, Pixel Core is a production facility with kind of I don't know, how would you define it? They train, people actually pay for training to learn how to work for them and create a pool of crew that they can call on for other projects.
Do they have, how big are they? About,
I've seen about 6 different people.
They're getting
standard.
smaller.
Pardon?
I suppose you said they're getting smaller perhaps right now.
Well,
Oh, who
they
knows?
have a core group and then they hire on people for big jobs. And they go, you know, Alex travels to London, Las Vegas, they do big conferences, teleconferences, and pretty high-end stuff. They had, last time I was in there, they were testing a motion capture. Where they put little nodules on you and you move around and then they can take that and animate it, turn it into a
It's called
rabbit.
video games.
Did you have a question? Steve?
No.
No. Okay.
Anyone
Very
else?
nice idea on the regional
Yeah.
access alliance. Sounds very nice. Be great if it could happen.
A network.
A coalition. Look at all the names we've already got.
Really? Okay.
I mean, Cinnabar did it and it fell out right away because they had too much internal bickering of who and what. But this stuff would be a little different and a little easier.
Okay, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
I'm assuming there's no other questions, so we'll move to committee reports, since there's nothing on the consent calendar. Executive committee did not meet. We had no agenda items for January, which is good. Anyone else meet?
Hmm.
No meeting.
We have the subcommittee, the butter and egg subcommittee, but that's on the agenda, so since there's no committee reports, we'll go to item 1 under old business, discussion and possible action on a PTO program and employee handbook modifications. And John and I worked offline to draft a PTO policy, which does everybody have a copy of that?
Matt also worked with us.
That's right, Matt weighed in on that, yes.
Just so we're clear, which is this old business item a continuation of?
Yeah.
There has to
It
have
was
been new business? It was tabled some time ago?
Yeah, it was tabled,
Long time ago.
do you remember which meeting it was?
It was
I don't know if it was under this administration.
Wasn't in
No,
my
it
lifetime.
was
so it's
June, it was
Well, I
in,
mean,
Holy cow.
it wasn't in 1 year, that's all I'm
it
saying.
was
You
in
suggest we
June
move
of,
that under new business,
I'm not sure it's correct with that.
new business?
well, it was in June 2010, it was on the agenda.
It's not bad. 18 months.
10?
2010
18
in
months.
June.
Yeah, it wasn't while I was here, Cindy.
More than a year ago?
Yeah.
then that should
I
have.
Okay, it should probably fall under new business then,
Stretching it.
yeah.
We reopen the agenda.
It is an old agenda item that this actual language here was introduced, and this is
I remember, I was just
Modified
thinking, I
version.
wasn't sure that we
Right.
said continue to a later date or just shelved it indefinitely.
Well, no, we did. I was charged with coming up with different, a different formula, because there were a number of challenges to the,
I remember we had some issues,
yeah.
just trying to wonder how long.
Yeah,
we
this
can-
is basically the same
Yeah.
thing, just with a different formula.
And it's under old business, so therefore we can vote on it and,
So, okay, so,
Get it
so
in.
let's note that it was continued from, what, November, June 2010?
June 2010 is the last time I brought it forward.
Okay.
Oh,
I don't think that's too much, that's a stretch.
All
Is
right,
that my new car?
No, it's not your
No.
new car.
don't pay attention to that handout yet.
No,
Let's
not
stay-
yet.
Let's stay on this one here.
I thought you were moving into
Yeah.
a new business, that's
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, so has everybody had a chance to look at this language? And to mull it over and,
I confess I didn't know that's what was in that attachment.
Same here.
this is too delicate to not have people familiar with it, and
Wait, I can
people,
re-
if something's on the agenda, you've gotta look at you've gotta do the homework, you do. If John and I took the time to put this together, you at least owe it to us to read it. And that's the only spanking I'll give you, but
I read all
really,
of
I
John's
mean,
attachments.
well, if I remember correctly, last time we brought this up, I mean, does this reflect those decisions or thoughts that we had from the last time we brought them up?
We brought it up last meeting, and
Didn't you
yes,
read it either?
No, I read it, but I'm looking for the context of it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this, I mean, I don't remember what the old was, but I remember feeling like we had come to some very clear resolution about dealing with the issues that we found the last time. And my question is this reflective of that?
Yes, there were some concerns that it wasn't fair, or that there were, yeah, it was kind of, was the formula for calculating correct, and it got overlooked or dropped. We went back and we addressed those concerns.
yeah, there were concerns about tenure and whether a person who had been with the organization longer shouldn't have a higher accrual rate. That was one issue. What were the other issues, John? Do you remember?
Yeah,
That's the
not-
part I
it's
worked
Not
on.
fair to somebody who worked 30 hours and somebody who worked 12.
Right.
Was there any, I think it was you, Eric, that suggested that it should grow if somebody stayed on longer?
Right.
And then there was a question between regular as opposed to temporary. So definitely no temporary, and then would it start out after the probationary period? Those were the items we worked on. And then the last point was something I don't even think we worked on that Cindy came up with, was requiring a minimum of 2 weeks' notice to be granted on a first-come, first-served basis if anybody wants to use this for a predetermined vacation. Matt had a question about how do we know if they're not just using it for sick leave, and if they call you up that day and they just want to take a day off.
Which they're entitled to do.
Yeah,
But
that
if
was
it's predetermined, that's different.
yeah, so that was the distinction we made between predetermined.
Right.
You know, we're a small organization, very close-knit, but this policy needs to be strong enough to last years with different people. So it went around a dozen emails back and forth between Cindy and I and Matt, and
Do we have any other copies of it?
I just have one copy, I didn't make multiples, but I can read it.
Did you read it? Oh, yes, I think
I gave you mine.
That's okay, I
Yeah.
move to support.
So, proposed changes to the employee handbook. Amendments to add sick and vacation, which we're calling paid time off, policies for part-time employees. maybe that should be any employee. I mean, if we have a full-time employee, they should be eligible for it too.
Absolutely.
Well, we have part-time because
Oh, yeah, full-time,
because of the
alright.
language that's in our employee handbook.
Thank you. So point number 1, all part-time employees who are not temporary employees working more than 10 hours per week will begin to accrue PTO after their 90-day probationary period, according to the following schedule. For 1 year, they will.
John, what's the difference between a part-time and a temporary?
Temporary is somebody's hired for a week to do something specific.
So it has an open end, I mean, it has a closed end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, that could be, yeah, somebody that's,
And what basically we have temporary and regular employees. Regular can be full-time or part-time. And a person becomes a regular employee after a 90-day probationary period. So for 1 year, they would accrue 0.02 hours for each hour worked. After 3 years, it would be 0.03, and after 5 years, 0.04. Now, the 0.02 hours per year, that if a person works 12 hours, they're gonna earn basically a week's worth in a year of the same. If somebody worked 12 hours a week, they would earn basically 12 hours in a year. If they worked 30 hours, they'd earn 30 hours off. So it was a pretty nice formula that Brooke came up with. And it's progressive after 1, 3, and 5 years. Employees who work additional hours will accrue additional increments based on their actual hours worked. 3, employees may start using their accrued PTO after 12 months of continued service. There will be a cap of 40 hours placed on each employee receiving PTO. Only PTO accrued will be paid when the time is taken off. There will be no advances on PTO nor going negative into hours accrued. 6, employees will give as much notice as possible when requesting PTO. Requests for PTO for the purpose of predetermined leaves will be submitted with a minimum of 2 weeks' notice and will be granted on a first-come, first-served basis. Any remaining PTO at the time of employment is terminated will be paid to the employee. So that's the basic draft to be voted on today.
2 questions. As accrued, why can't they use it as accrued? Why do they have to necessarily wait a year? And just as a motivational tool, and also, does it take us 90 days to realize our people are any good? Those, I mean, just asking because I haven't been around.
90 days is considered normal.
It is, it
Normal or
is.
short, but.
It is, we had 6 months and, business was, so I agree. But because there was a lot more handling money and things, but you think 90 days is okay, fine?
It's long. I get a good read in the first month, and the second month confirms it. But 90 days, I think, is safe.
Okay.
We've had a lot of turnover.
right.
Yeah, I know.
It
You've had the
also-
history, I know.
Yeah, it also gives you a chance, because we have the 30, 60, 90 evals, and if somebody after 30 days needs to improve on something, it gives them the opportunity,
61.
yeah.
And as accrued, just the idea, I accrue it, well, no, it will take almost a year to get any, so. Okay, I pass.
Can I make just 2 what I think might be minor suggestions? Number 4, there will be an accrual cap of 40 hours. Insert accrual.
I love you, Tim.
And then number 5, move the word only to between paid and when, so it sounds like PTO accrued will be paid only when time is taken off.
Gotcha.
I think that's what we meant anyway, right?
Yes. And the exception to that is if there's any left over when they leave, then that gets
Of
paid.
course,
Right.
which is covered under number 7. And the remaining.
Thank you for paying him. I get so tired of hearing you use it or lose it.
Well, the use it or lose it, it would be the cap of 40, so.
Yeah,
As they know, as
that's
they see
true.
they're getting near 40, they better start
Yeah.
scheduling some time off. And that's just to limit your liability.
No, I know.
Okay.
So what the initial vote would be then on the terminology and inserting this into the handbook, adopting it as a policy. And then my question would be, do we At what point do we start calculating backwards to when the person
Yes.
started working? Because Zach would be 3 years, he'd already be at the different rate. That's a functional question after the approval of the policy.
I move to approve the policy
I second.
With my changes or without?
with Tim's English, Tim's good English. I don't know about going back 3 years. My only thought is,
We can
Well,
take them as
wait
two
a second.
separate items.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
separate question.
oh, we had to vote, sorry.
So,
Cancer, drugs, effect.
Right, is there any other discussion? All those in favor? Okay.
very good, thank you. And the staff thanks you.
Yeah.
Now the second question was your procedural.
Yes, how do we start the calculations? Effective today?
Financially, how much of a
Yeah, what's
liability
your,
is
what's
it?
your liability is, Mike?
I mean, I don't know that
Roughly.
you can answer that.
Roughly.
No, as,
30 hours a week times 3 years?
Well,
Well, no, it would be the cap at 40, so,
Yeah, he'd already be capped,
Yeah.
He'd
or
be
close,
capped.
yeah.
but he would start with, at the level of his employment. Now, what would be the other option is we start now and a year from now?
Do we feel we need to go back that far for some employee boost?
Well, standard retroactive is a
A year,
year
the
and
year.
never more than 2.
Yeah.
Right, because we started this conversation, we said a year ago, and so another possibility would be retroactive 1 year from 1
So-
year.
1/1/11.
Yeah, well, we could say we started, we could make it retroactive to when we first brought it. Or a fiscal year.
I think it's easier on fiscal for the books, isn't it? If it isn't, I would still say 1/1/11.
It's
That's
kinda-
only a month
It's
later.
kind of hard in this fiscal year to explain liabilities that we're taking on now for previous fiscal years, which are the books for which are already closed.
Mhm.
Well, that's true.
So we take it to July
July
1st.
1st, 2011.
There you go.
Plus, it's somewhere in the middle between,
And it's still a reward, I mean, to some.
No, I think that's acceptable. But then the length of service is determined by the first day of their employment.
Right.
So that somebody would start at the length of,
yeah,
Exactly.
the accrual rate.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I'll explain that to Brooke and we'll figure it out.
Okay, I move to have it start on
July 1st.
July 1st, 2011. Yeah, Zach's got a lot of, his grandfather.
I'll second
I
that.
know we can't do that.
All those in favor, unless there's further discussion? All right, we're good.
Move along.
Great.
Okay, wait, there were 2 other items for, since I'm gonna be going back into the employee handbook to update this, there were 2 other pending items. One is,
And I read and signed and returned
in the current employee handbook, it speaks of an introductory period, and Cindy has recommended that we change it to probationary.
What was it we were changing?
Is that a-
Ray was
I
distracting
was,
me.
I
The
was
He was
nine- The
sidebarring.
90 days is currently defined or terminally referred to as an introductory period.
Right.
Which came out of the boilerplate that Brooke and I worked with. But
Is that a board-approved document?
yes, it was approved
Okay.
and adopted. But now I'm recommending a change to probationary. And I'm really deferring to Cindy's reservations about the word.
You've been through the whole book and that's the only change you want to bring out?
I got one more.
we just went over a bunch of changes.
So that's a change I'm recommending. And then the other change would be something I've been doing for a couple of years now. I wanted to get some wording in there that formalizes that PCA membership, all regular employees, full-time or part-time, are entitled to producer membership status in PCA without charge, effective at the end of their probationary period and terminating on the date that their employment at PCA ends.
I can completely support both those.
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know if they need a motion, because
We do,
Yeah,
because it's
okay.
an approved document.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
Third.
All right,
great.
we're good. Okay, anything else on item 1? I don't have anything, John, do you?
No.
Okay, item 2, under old business, discussion and possible action on Butter and Egg Day Parade project. And I've listed it as all on here because it's been kind of,
All had participated.
all the chips are in the air right now.
Lots has happened in the last few days. We're just about there on paying for it, but there are some things that I have to work on over the next 2 days. I have spoken to all the things we can and can't do, and that's why I brought this picture, which if you could all take a look at it, and I would have done it on shiny paper, but I didn't feel you guys were worth Kodak paper, and it's on their website. But the only 2 windows that you can open, and you'll notice that some of the windows have what look to be bars, but something on them that prevents them from being open. The only 2 windows you can open are the rear one you will see where the door entrance is, and the front one where John's riding shotgun. Those are the only 2 windows. The reason being for a lot of reasons, and they went through every one of them. There's an open bar here, whether or not we stock it is incidental. There's an open bar here, and you technically aren't supposed to drive, as you know, certainly with the window open, with open alcohol right below the window. If you'll notice the way the seats are set up, it's not really conducive to waving. It's conducive to driving around to wineries and looking out the window and getting drunk, and which I still don't understand how you can do that with the laws of driving. But anyway, so they don't even ever get any requests to do it. I'm still kind of working on it, but I think it's an uphill battle at this point. You'll notice the seating inside. These are 2 different configurations. The couch basically being the major change, and whether you have a bar or some other form of just plain entertainment because it's kids or something, they may not have a bar. But it's basically the same, and it's not conducive to looking out at people. In fact, the couches are all facing in, although the one on the left, it looks like it could theoretically be looking out. The reason I bring this up is if we're going to have winners inside and outside, and the winners inside want to wave their trophies or do whatever, that's okay. You're not supposed to wave your hand out a moving car, but again, with the parade in mind, they've approved that we can go ahead and put a trophy out, just try not to wave it way out. So again, you've really only got 2 spots where winners can be seen by the public, and only 1 on each side of the car, which obviously...
And can they put their head through the moonroof there?
Yes, but I just won that verbally with 1 more legal check today. Technically, it's supposed to be only when the car's not moving again, same rules. As long as the car's moving, no. The driver we're going to get sounds like he's really behind it. So I think we can, how do I say, get away with stuff? I think we can do things, just the in and out of the car, particularly where somebody's getting in and out next to him. And he said, you know, my first concern was it's a parade. There's 25,000 people on each side of the street. Is anybody going to run up to the car for no reason, or some stupid reason?
Well, now that I know there's alcohol in it, maybe so.
Well, that's why we don't want a window open that shows where the booze is, that somebody could reach in and grab. But
Well, now, if there's minors, I would want them to remove the alcohol from the car. I don't want that
you
liability.
don't have to remove it. Most of it's yours. They add that to the price. So, I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
theoretically, we're not
Okay.
getting.
I don't know, every
Okay.
time we've ever got a limo, the alcohol was in there.
It's in there, but you
Yeah.
wrote the check at the beginning of the day.
Right, okay.
Partially, I'm sure they give you good prices.
Okay, it's a package thing, okay.
Yeah. That's where I am. Again, now, on the signs, and this has been a little bit of a battle. As far as the flags, if you'll notice the front bumper, and I think it's kind of critical, particularly the bottom size. I don't know personally what the clamps look like to attach a flag. We have permission to attach flags with a clamp that they approve and that they test on the car. Because again, we're not moving fast. So the risk to the car is very minimal. As far as the signs, they would like to know what they are and where we intend to put them and how we intend to put them on. They don't have any magnets, anything. He said, I think I've had, her husband said, I think I've had a car decorated once in 6 years. So this is a very uncommon, they've had streamers off the back just married and stuff, but they haven't had any real decoration, so.
And magnets are yes or no?
Magnets are the way to go. He
That's
said, we
what
may
I
have
thought.
you sign a little bit
Yeah,
of
we talked about
an
that.
agreement, but I'd still like to approve the magnets, you know, I mean, magnets are
Or the
magnets.
vinyl things,
Pardon?
or the vinyl things that are basically static.
Yeah. Anything that you think logically wouldn't do damage to a car, I'm not
That's
concerned.
right, we could put those on the
So-
windows.
I think we're there for, and that's why I was hoping Jason, who's working on the signs, and I'll give him a call tomorrow. But we can start working on the signs. They're thinking of putting the pure luxury sign on the driver's door, which makes perfect sense to me. I don't know how big it is. He had to go measure it.
Sponsored by,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we pretty much have at least the big, it's not really a door, but the big area, the back. We don't have the front except for flags. They would like to not have a banner across the front. Didn't explain why.
The radiator.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's conceivable. So that's what we got. As I said, I'll call Jason tomorrow for the area he has to work with. And then we have to start assembling what the magnets will look like so they can get a picture. They don't need to see the magnet. It's not that formal. John can attest. It was a very interesting experience. I've sold some huge deals, and I will tell you, putting this together with young Jennifer was an indeed experience, and it's all coming out well, so I'm glad. But,
Very nice to know.
oh, she's a sweetheart, but she wouldn't call me back or answer an email, or answer a voicemail for 2.5 weeks, granted time of year. And I kept saying, as I said, well, what can I do here? I mean, I don't want to be a pest. Her husband told me to only talk to her. I'm gonna go back to him and look like an idiot. I'm not used to people not replying at all. That was my concern. When she replied, she was a sweetheart of the century. Just took me 3 weeks of sleepless nights thinking, can I go in front of you guys and say I screwed up again?
Nope.
Anyway, we're in good shape, and as I said, we'll get the money down. The worst expenditure I see is about $170 or 160. If no one will agree that the driver who is paid out of pocket, he's not an employee, they do it a little differently, he's a contracted employee. It gets paid per trip, per time, per whatever. And they're a little less willing to take the out-of-pocket money and give it to us. So that is the worst case scenario, and if it's this driver, I have a feeling he might jump into. I will know within 2 or 3 days. So he said, hopefully. But that's where we are, so any other part of the subcommittee can start working on their part. I agree with everybody, because I wasn't there for any discussions, that the board members and the winners that can't ride in the car all the way should be walking with the parade, and at least 3 or 4 of the board members holding the banner up front, which I will be glad to be one, because I didn't walk a lot last year. But I think that's almost a necessity. Marcel, I liked your ideas of the young dancers, but or young students, or whatever. I was more worried about coordinating it, and then I began to think, why not have the members and the winners or related people like that are more a part of the luminary process? So, and I thought it might be easier to do, because coordinating the groups that may already be in the parade was a stretch. But that's not my committee part, so. That's it, that's all I have to report. We should have it wrapped up and ready.
Whose committee part is it?
Jason has the signs. John and Jason have the script, which I didn't speak to at all. As you know, we have till March 2nd to get that in. That was really it, the signs, and then if we agree to have the board members, who approaches them? The board members and the luminary winners. Whether we delegate who approaches them.
Well, we've got David Glass, who's agreed to ride, and he was he was the star of the show, one of the winning shows. And I did talk to 2 other luminarians. I will be sending out an email to all of them. I just thought it was a little too far out to really have them have their calendars ready to lock.
We didn't know for sure we had a vehicle.
Yeah, we wanted to get there. That's why we're working so early on the vehicle, because it's the key piece. Without it, our plans change. So once we get that locked, we can start to work around it. I think the subcommittee needs to reconvene and hammer out who does what when. I've got some ideas on the magnets. You know, if we've got enough of our little refrigerator magnets, we could do a pinstripe, PCA pinstripe on both sides.
No, that's not big and bold enough for us. We're big and bold now.
But it's subtle and discreet. But you can also take those same magnets.
Something that we can recycle, though.
You take those same magnets and you just glue paper to them, and they hold 4 corners or 6. So we can make something work with magnets. That's not a problem.
Is the weather ever a factor? I'm thinking of wind.
Yes, it has been.
No, I'm thinking of wind as much as I'm thinking of rain.
Rain is usually the
It's,
factor.
yeah. rain.
We have to keep that in mind for any signs, this preparation. So, yeah, that's all. I don't even know if I'm the chairman, but so what, I'll be willing if you want. But all I'm saying is we should all get involved, so who cares who's the lead dog?
At our subcommittee meeting, suggested that board members walk with the banner in the front. We don't need to put it on the front of the car.
Carry one.
Oh, I thought what you were putting on the flags was different than the banner.
Well, we have the banner. We have a banner already
Yeah, we have a
made.
banner that 3 people
Our
carry.
standard banner
Right.
that
Right.
we just put shower rings through the grommets and on a long rod
Right.
and carry it.
But the flags I thought that would be on the car were different. I didn't even know
They
what
haven't
you.
been designed yet or any, it was just an
Right.
idea.
Okay,
That's subcommittee work,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
And I did talk to Neil, and he's interested.
Oh, he's very gung-ho. He says, I don't know what it is, but it's fun, I think.
Yeah.
That was his exact email.
You aren't really gonna ride in the car, in the front seat, are you?
I hope so.
Well, he can ride in the car, the
We
only
only
thing,
got 3 windows and how many
That's-
luminaries?
Well, we've already
there-
worked this
luminaries?
out. You and I are in the limo.
We're what?
We're in the limo, you and I, with David Glass.
Okay.
yeah, I would not wanna do that.
And
we
why
met-
is that? Why are you two in a limo? I mean, rather than luminarian winners?
Because they signed up.
Well, I think the luminarian winners are gonna get more visibility outside.
If they're willing,
If they're willing.
but that, remember, the window
Yeah.
thing is an issue.
That's
We're
not
down to
much,
2
that's
windows.
not much
Think-
of a treat to get to walk.
All right.
If it's
Well,
90
I
okay.
think
degrees.
it's
Work
better
that out
if you
in
run it.
subcommittee.
Yeah, that's all subcommittee work.
Yeah, we
but
will.
Okay,
Let's just make sure that everybody gets equal airtime,
okay,
right? Okay,
yes.
I think that's what we were
Any
saying.
thoughts, Marcel,
Thank you
on this?
for the
What
work on
did
that.
you mean by
And as
that?
far as, what's that?
Okay.
I hear you.
Well, thank you, Ray, for your help
Um,
on this, and
This was, never mind.
Don't go there.
No, it's pulling teeth.
The committee, we do need somebody to coordinate follow-up meetings for that.
I'll do that, I mean, that's
Okay.
groundwork. And I'll turn in the script and the application on before March 2nd, but for the early bird, I forget when the early bird thing is, I think it's March 2nd. Yeah, it is, March 2nd. So I'll turn it in on March 1st.
So at the next meeting, can we expect an update with maybe a draft of the script so we can take a look at that? And what else? A little tighter outline of,
Who does what? I mean, we formalize more who does what, which I will. I'll talk to Jason, he's already volunteered on signage and to help John with the script. And I didn't know what I had, so now I do, I'll help with who has to
Okay.
contact the board members, who has to contact the luminaries. And again, that could be multiple people, where you have a friend.
well, we also have the issue of the
What?
coupon, they're not coupons this time. What did we decide? What did we talk about doing? It was something,
Handouts.
It looked
Yeah.
like, the last I heard, it looked like an iPad, if we had one, if we're gonna go that route. I have mixed emotions, it's the best bang for our buck, just because of the last one. But it's
Yeah.
up to you guys, I don't remember who that was, see, we're too Jason heavy there, that was another Jason.
Having done the handouts last time and the eye contact, it wasn't very productive. Mostly it's the kids grabbing for something free,
Mhm.
Right, right.
and they got barely.
And even those who sign up are only going for something free. I mean, 90% of them aren't gonna ever
Yeah.
join even.
And- So I think it's good, we kick that one back to subcommittee and hammer it out.
But we'll still talk about something else if we do want something else. The script will identify what we're doing, the car will identify the showmanship. I don't know if we need something else to hand out, but
How
We'll
about
work on it.
magnets?
We got plenty of those.
Those are nice
Yeah,
handouts,
we-
because those are actually a nice, I think most people like refrigerator magnets, and
Yeah.
it's not a
Right.
bad thing to hand out.
and they put them
It's
up,
got a little
it's
more
there.
weight than a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's
Right.
right,
Yeah.
if someone gets a magnet, they're gonna hold on to it, and
but I
Okay.
believe, and Marcel, help me remember here, didn't we also talk about that was one of the possibilities for raffling?
If there's, last year, nobody came, there was 2
Yeah.
people.
We were
that,
talking, that's what we're
Right.
talking about.
So,
It doesn't have bang for the
I
buck.
wouldn't want to use, this is
That,
almost $700.
Whoa,
I
well,
wouldn't wanna use
Believe me,
this
I know.
to have
right,
the-
right.
she didn't
Well-
give
So
you a better,
more like 900 when you
She
get all
didn't
the,
gave you a better deal on that with all that hype from Susan, and I talked her up.
Marcel has the floor.
No, that's it.
That's it?
I said,
Okay.
I said it in the comments, that we need to figure out how to best use this to bring in new members to PCA.
Yes.
Right.
And I think the parade is a big thing, and it's one thing I think that would get lost unless we
Right.
have some.
Right.
But we were looking
Something
for some way to
special.
bring them to our website, and we were talking about putting a QR code on the handout so that they could go to the website and
We'll table it for
sign
the
up
committee.
for a raffle of some sort. And we don't even need to have a big ticket item, so it could be free dinners around town or anything, you know.
Do you wanna make that part of the butter and egg thing still?
The handout.
Well, let's talk about it at the subcommittee, because I know there was some
Subcommittee,
work.
what is everybody else
Not
thinking in
the-
terms of that?
Yeah, I think Marcel is right, that this is too valuable to get lost in the
Right,
sauce.
right, but
of
we've gotta
the-
find something to draw them to the website,
Okay.
QR code on the coupon.
If
Not-
we do
I'm just
that.
calling it coupon handout.
Or maybe an open
all
house,
right.
something.
But then we're back to somebody handing them out again, which
Right.
takes away from a lot of people. I mean, they could be walking along the sides, but for the people who did it last year, I'm not sure they were that thrilled.
No, there's no bang in that buck.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Membership was not a draw for people, it wasn't give us
And it was
your
only-
money
it
for a
was $10
membership.
Yeah.
off, but it was a branding.
Free
It was
things.
a branding thing, and the magnet will do that as well.
Right,
Right.
No, I'm thinking that we had an aborted survey that was gonna go out in a water bill mailer. Maybe remember that? We had to do our annual, or every 4 years we do an outside survey.
Customer service thing?
Yeah. Maybe we could do a viewer survey with a correctly, I should say.
at the parade,
No.
Total separate way to do
you're going down the wrong, we're sticking with
Okay.
butter and eggs right now, yeah.
Okay.
just thinking.
But yeah, all right, well, I wanna pitch that idea at the next committee meeting now. I wanna-
Cindy is now ahead of the subcommittee for that,
No,
so we
I-
have someone. You needed that. You needed that, Ms. Bold. Anyway, no, we'll talk about that.
Cindy,
No, she
No,
can't do
no.
subcommittees, I know
City's
that.
gone digital.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, she's given
I
me
was
digital many
exercising
times.
which finger I wanted to poke his
Yeah.
eye with.
Oh, there's, I
something
only
like
have one
that.
eye, remember? Be nice.
50% shot.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right, so is that it for the committee? Hey, now, have we approved funds for, we did approve
There was a
some
line
funding.
item already for that, I think, is what we.
Well, there's a line item for promotion and outreach.
Yeah.
We haven't really dipped into it at all, so
And how much is
we
that?
talked about 200 to 300 at the subcommittee meeting, but I don't think anything was determined. I wanted to see what we needed, and
Well, I just wanna make sure that we're set, so that something, that Ray should need to have the ability to spend money. I mean, we're not locked in with this driver and,
That's about the only thing, and worst case scenario, just off the record, well, can't be off the record, but I will pay if they don't come through. So we're pretty much okay with the car part, the driver is still up in the air, but I can't see $300 going above that. We're not gonna be paying
For
young
signage?
kids.
signage could add something.
Signage
Could it add
Certainly
$200?
flag.
But that signage is reusable,
Yeah.
and
Right.
it's,
And we have
in
last-
fact, it would be nice to have that PCA sign up on the board every time we do one of these,
We put a bug on the image.
do you? Okay, cause I.
What sign? I don't see anything, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, well, because last time well, that's another issue. Okay, but, yeah,
I
so,
think we should
we have a
just,
promotions, but, line item, so I think this definitely falls under that without any question.
$300?
Yeah, I
Well,
think it's like a $700 or $800 line item, is that correct? Or-
he said
Tell
it
you
was
exactly.
part of, oh,
Silence. Drum roll. Promotion outreach. We've got $2,000 in there.
oh, let me add him, that
And
car will be
so-
stopped.
And to date, we have spent 160.
Okay, so we're fine there.
Yeah.
And I just wanna make sure that if, you know, the outreach committee comes up with something later
Spectacular.
on, we'll review the budget at the 6 month.
Right.
In 2008, I think we spent
Okay,
more
okay.
than $400 on food.
Is that, okay. So we're somewhere within range.
We've spent $15 of it, so,
Wow. So we're not doing the Super Bowl ad this year then, is it?
sorry.
Okay.
That's not good.
Well, we get some members that way then.
Okay, we're through the old business. Item 3 is under new business. Discussion and possible action on a PCA board non-disclosure agreement. Eric?
Yes, thank you. While reviewing policies and procedures of this organization, it came to the attention of John and others that we didn't have what is a very common and important document in most organizations, a non-disclosure and conflict of interest agreement, which basically just lets everyone sign an agreement that says that they are in alignment with several very simple and broad outlines of non-disclosure and conflict of interest. And the committee, was it the executive committee, did we do this under?
Yes.
The executive committee worked out some language for an agreement, and I'll read it so it becomes part of the public record. I blank, a member of the Board of Directors of Petaluma Community Access, declare in carrying out my duties as a director, I will, 1, respect and support the organization's bylaws, policies, code of conduct, and decisions of the board and membership consistent with state and federal laws pertaining to public nonprofit organizations. Number 2, keep confidential all information that I learn about clients, personnel, closed session discussion items, and any other matters specifically determined by board motion to be matters of confidence. And number 3, immediately disclose any personal conflict of interest that may come to my attention and recuse myself from related deliberations or voting. Very simple, very broad language, but I think it's important to add this to the list of things that we as a board member agree to when we take our charge.
Do you need a motion or?
I believe a motion is in order to approve this language.
And I just want to add that in the meantime, after we developed this, the auditors sent me a communication on the federal Form 990, which this basically covers, but I thought it'd be a good idea to do both. They sent a recommended one, which I sent you all a copy. Cindy caught that it didn't have any place to sign, so
Right.
she printed a new
I
one.
made up.
Did you sign it?
And that's
Well, I
fine.
signed it. I think I did. Who was the first one to
I was
turn
gonna
it
ask
in?
you- I was gonna ask Cindy, she beat you.
Oh, no, she didn't. She got it right here.
You might want to do yours over again, and I can hand out a copy to each person here of both documents, and we can,
Okay,
but you need to vote on it first, I guess.
okay.
So, there's the non-disclosure, and there's the Form 990.
Great.
The non-disclosure, that didn't change, right?
No, the non-disclosure did not change.
Okay.
So
Wow.
this is, and I will, and the Citizen Lick Marcel has already done so.
Okay, Marcel's is
Great speed.
No changing the tape tonight, huh, man?
Nope.
No tape?
Changing cards.
Oh wait, the cameraman's gone, he took PTO.
Oh, you did.
Okay,
That's the end.
thank you.
Yeah, that's it. So,
So then. So then, Mr. Johnson, are you suggesting a motion that includes both Form
Yes.
990?
Yes.
Okay, would you be so kind as
I
to,
so move that we accept Form 990 as well as the non-disclosure agreement requiring all board members to sign it.
I'll second it. Any further discussion before the question comes at you? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, it's moved and adopted. Anything else on that item?
that's it, thank you.
Okay, item 4, new business, discussion and possible action on the modification of operational hours. John?
yes, this is something that came up in a staff meeting. looking at our membership usage, there's not a lot of traffic after 8 o'clock at night. And we have had some people come knocking on the doors earlier in the afternoon. So staff suggested it might be smart to go from 2 to 8 instead of 1 or 3 to 9. I did some research around the county, and all let's see, San Rafael, Santa Rosa are closed. Santa Rafael is closed on Sunday and Monday, and they're open from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and 11 to 6 on Friday. Santa Rosa, which is cutting back on some of their things, have just launched a new schedule, and they have separated business hours from production hours. Production hours need basically one staff member to open the door. They have a studio, an animation room, and various different things. They're open from 12 noon to 6 at night. They're not open in the evenings. And Friday they open 2 hours earlier. And they're closed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Novato is open from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're not even open at night, and they're closed Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're within the realm. It's just a very minor change. It just got complicated today because I have some Santa Rosa JC students who have classes that don't allow them to get to the office till 2:30 or 3. So we're still hammering it out. I read this as an operational decision that I could basically make, but I wanted to open it up for discussion if you had any concerns or...
Can I ask just philosophically why nobody does anything in the morning at all, anywhere in this type of a business? Just because I'm a 5 a.m. to 4 person, I mean, it's...
Well, it's staffing hours are important, and we always, PCA has traditionally privileged the evenings for people who work during the day and they want to come in and edit. So you can't have both. We went for the evenings. But now we're seeing that there are more unemployed people who would like to come in and edit. So we, as part of the policies, part of the procedures revision, this would be a subheading. We've also discussed as a staff whether we could take appointments for people who wanted to work on.
That's where I was going with that.
And there's a contingency there is those would be advanced members who don't need a lot of attention from the staff, so they wouldn't be interrupting. Well, we get a lot of work done on Wednesdays, and if our services for hire program takes off, that would be the day when the projects are edited and developed.
Okay, that's what I thought, appointment, I didn't mean change the hours.
So this is something we would like to do quickly, but I still got to hammer out the schedule that makes it work. So.
Well, I think that all you need from us is just a blessing on the concept, because you're in charge of operations.
Yes.
So you make operational decisions, and
Totally.
but it's nice that you bring it in front of us so that we can support you.
Thank you, but you don't even have to ask.
Yeah, since we're on the subject, have you looked at or reviewed the days of operations as well? Is Wednesday the best day to close, and is there another day that might be more appropriate for a close, or do you feel that it works well?
It's been working very well for us.
Okay.
It's an easy rhythm. We have a lot of checkouts on Friday. It's a very heavy checkout, and those return on Monday. And Monday is a very good day for setting the clocks for the week. People have our staff meetings. It's interesting that San Rafael and Santa Rosa close on Monday. They just start their week on Tuesday. But Wednesdays worked very well for us.
Great.
It's a good breather. We have 2 days and then 3 days.
Good. All right. Checking. So I do all my work on Wednesday and take the rest of the week off, so I was...
You work?
No, but I get paid.
No, that's all right.
They do.
It's a way to do it.
Can I do that?
You didn't get paid.
Great. I thought you were still trying to decide what you were gonna be when you grow up.
No, I decided not to grow up.
Okay, great. Thank you, John.
Yes, thanks.
I'm up next as well.
No action on 4. Item 5, discussion and possible action on staff retreat. John?
We generally had an annual party. Staff appreciation is what we called it last time, but I thought that our model for the retreat was so successful, I thought we might just offer it to the staff. Have
Staff retreat.
a staff retreat, which, you know, it was low key. It wasn't a heavy brainstorming work retreat, but we did get work done, and it was very positive in relationships. The issue for me is scheduling. You know, if we have a butter and eggs day in April, and if this idea for a regional conference comes through in May, where are we gonna place this other retreat, and where are we gonna have it? Or do we, basically, I'm requesting a subcommittee to help me hammer out those details and bring it back to the board next month. Pictionary, I think, would be a gas with the staff.
That was fun. I have to admit, I was skeptical.
Yeah, you wanted to stay longer than we thought you would. We didn't bet that way. Oh, did I mention the betting? No, I'm just kidding.
You weren't as close as we were.
I love to tease you, Eric, about yeah. All right, so
So, in general, the concept, I think, is valid, and I think we had it at Cindy, we had it at your house. The pool party was great.
yeah, even with the solar panels, the pool's gonna be cold up until about June or July.
Yeah, I would say do it in July or August especially, because July can be more winter.
Okay, that's.
Well, it'd be nice if you could also go with the staff somewhere where there really could be some conversation, interaction, and dialogue aside from, past the
Drinking and
beach ball.
swimming.
Drinking and skinny dipping in the pool, yeah.
And interaction with the board and staff is an
Yeah,
important
sure.
part of that, so
Yeah.
I would really recommend
Absolutely.
the board to attend.
Right.
I walked into the office today, and I do find out they work hard, but I didn't know anybody. So, I mean, the interaction, I think, is critical as far as
Yeah.
on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, we've got new staff members, 3.
Right.
Well, you get to know Van.
And he wasn't there.
All right, do we have any volunteers for that committee? Or do you wanna do that offline, or it's,
Yeah, we can do it offline, unless there's,
is anybody interested?
can I
It's
just
not
throw-
just women's work, okay?
if I could just throw in another gathering that we need to factor into our calendar, is if we're thinking of having an open house or something to bring members into new members and new people into the office space. That's also gonna go on the calendar, so. And that's another subcommittee, but
Okay,
I'd be happy to work with the retreat subcommittee, because we've done most of the work, it's just finding a date.
okay.
Sorry.
I'm always gonna be involved, so.
Okay, we'll bring this one back.
Don't we have standing committees that could take some of these things?
I was thinking about that, I was thinking members advisory for the open house, but
That's just you and I. That's a big committee, and we meet a lot. When would they last meet?
no, I meant outreach and development. Did I say
Oh.
members advisory? I was
Yeah,
gonna-
you did.
Wait a minute, I'm not on that committee. I meant to say outreach and development.
Well, if I'm the only one on it, it's not.
Well, I gotta say, I'm starting filming on January 30th, and it's really hard for me to, feature film, so, I'm out of contention for everything in my life except for this, so.
So that would be all Wednesdays then.
That'll be all Wednesdays,
And all Tuesdays.
so unfortunately, I have to recuse myself on this one.
Okay, work in progress.
Okay, but the concept is good.
Yes.
And our next item is absent.
Yeah, just item number 6, the last one is, discussion and possible action on a 5-year plan, and I guess for Jason is missing an action.
That's why it's a 5-year plan, because it takes so long.
Yeah, it takes a long
It
time to
takes
get
5 years to
started.
get him here,
I moved to adjourn. Is that on the line?
unless anybody has anything
Well,
else.
no, I'm serious. I'm not.
That would be
making light.
appropriate.
Tomorrow is a really long day.
Sure. I second the motion.
Okay, I think we're out of here.
Great meeting, though,
Yeah.
Cindy, really.
Thank you for a good meeting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's it.
Thank you.